Hello, everybody. I'm Bob here with BerCrew Studios. Here I've got Nemes with me.
Hello.
Everyone will know Nemes, of course, from the Lucca and Mantua.
And because
as
I'm
it's pronounced.
so handsome and popular.
That's right. Everyone will know him, of course, from the multiplayer series that we've been doing together in EU4. And then we have a newcomer, Pickles.
Without the S.
Just one.
Just one pickle.
I'm just
Pickle.
one pickle.
Yeah, he's not
Just
a
one
freak
pickle.
of nature. That'd be weird.
I apologize. Singular pickle. So say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, my God. This is going to be riveting already, I can tell. So today we're going
Suck it!
So today we're going to be playing some Endless Legend multiplayer here. Now, as I understand it, Pickle's not actually very good at this, as he was going over just before we started playing, or recording, rather. Now, Nemes and I have been playing it quite a bit since, I think, yesterday.
Now you should clarify that statement, just a tidbit.
Okay, how should I...
Bob has played a significant amount, and Nemes has played like an extra game or two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
keeping it real, everybody.
I'm still new to this. Nemes is still new to this. I don't know how long Pickle has been playing.
Enough to get beat 3 different times.
Okay.
All right, so let's get to it. We're going to start a new game. I am hosting, so for those of you who are looking at my screen, you'll see a couple extra things that you won't see on Bob, but that will only last for about 30 seconds here. Quick question for the crew here. I have 8 guys going right now, 8 AIs, or 5 AIs and us. I guess the question is, do we want to team up against the AI, or do we want to go full out everybody neutral?
I think kind of let things fall as they will.
Sure.
I think one, you should find the thing that turns off the score.
Yeah, where's that?
I think it's under game setting summary. Yes. So game setting summary, right hand side miscellaneous. There's empire scores. Now you can set that to like disabled, I think, to where you have to infiltrate someone's city in order to see what score they are, to see how far ahead of them you are, or vice versa.
Empire scores. I can do none or partial.
Partial might be the one I'm thinking of.
That's the one. Okay. Okay. So
yeah, in order to see anyone's scores, you have to infiltrate their city first, and then you can see what kind of score they got. Going with that. The other thing I would like to do is make sure that all the factions are actually selected and not random, because I personally don't like having doubles of factions myself.
Well, then I will have to pick my faction. While I'm thinking about that last second, world size is large because we got 8 of us. World shape, we can do 2 continents, 4 continents, few continents, many continents, or we can do one of the Pangeas. I've heard islands is a bit of a cluster. And given that we're all new to the game, I'd have liked to avoid clusters. So I guess the question is, do we want to do some multiple continents, or do we want to do a big Pangea thing?
Let's do multiple.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Do you want 2, few, or 4?
Few.
Yeah. 2 continents. Okay. And then continent shape, I'm kind of okay with random if you guys are.
Yeah, that's cool, maybe.
Do you want temperature to be random? Or do we want to stay with temperate?
Let's stay with temperate, just because that's going to be the friendliest, I think, for everybody.
All right. And then topography, I'm going to do random.
Sounds good.
All right. So, you guys tell us about your races and why you chose them while I select my last race, and we'll start with Bob.
Sure. I am playing as the Broken Lords, which is, as far as I can tell, they were human or human-like once, but they decided some sort of catastrophe happened, which is hinted through the lore. There was some sort of great sundering of the world, and that forced the Broken Lords, as they're called now anyway, to turn to dust to stain their bodies and keep themselves going. As a result of this, they're kind of what I would classify as bad guys in the lore, because they have to pretty much go marching across the territory, collecting up dust, and then also kind of killing everybody in their path because they suck up life energy too. As far as the lore goes, I haven't found where that actually sinks into the gameplay yet. I think it's just a lore flavor thing more than anything else. One of the perks I have is that all of my sort of expansion is fueled by dust generation. I don't have to worry about food at all. However, the downside is I have to heal through dust as well. So it should be interesting. I've actually played quite a bit of Broken Lords. I've got a pretty good idea how they work now. Which the flip of that is I haven't played any of the other races whatsoever, so I don't really know how they function. Like, I don't know what food is necessarily. You know, like, what's this green stuff? What's this leafy green stuff? I'm just going to cast that aside, put it in the furnace. This is what I'm going to do. So, but I've had a lot of fun with them so far. I'm eager to try a different race at some point, but for now we're going to stick with Broken Lords because that's what I know best.
Cool. Yeah, mine won't be nearly as in depth or interesting as Bob's. I usually go with the Forgotten. They were more assassins and such, and I just think they're really cool looking. I also don't have to worry about science because they're science phobic. So I don't have to worry about so much research per turn or this isn't getting researched fast enough. I buy all my tech. So I'm sort of Bob in the sense to where I have to concentrate very heavily on dust generation because that's how I actually get upgrades to my techs and such.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
you guys are both unique in that regard, in that Pickle doesn't have science and you don't have food. I will go ahead and just play Vultures to get kind of a different look at it. There are definitely a few very unique races. The Vultures is probably a little more vanilla in some senses, and in others it's not vanilla at all. But so I'm going to go ahead and play the Vultures. Now the Vultures do have a couple of interesting things. So and these guys are actually in the other Endless game. So their units are fairly standard. They're mostly infantry based, so there's nothing crazy there. One thing that they do have is they have this ability. If they have a strategic resource, they can set it as a holy resource, right? Which is a booster. But the other thing that happens is when you have an active booster, you can teleport between your cities. So
really?
Rather than walking around your territory, as long as you have one of those resources being active, you can just walk into your city and then boom, teleport to your other city, which is actually very similar to how they operate in Endless Space, at least the teleportation aspect of it.
Interesting.
So, with that, I think we're ready to jump in.
Let's do this.
Yeah!
Get hype.
Now let's all wait awkwardly while the countdown happens, and then let's wait awkwardly while the load-in screen starts, and then we'll wait slightly awkwardly while the initial cutscene starts.
Yes, the cutscene, which I'll show everybody.
Downloading.
So how many hours does everybody have in this so far?
Not many.
I would have 13.
7.
Let me check my Steam thing.
Yeah, just shift tab it. It'll get.
I've also got 13.
Oh, okay. So you guys both have twice what I have. Hippies.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're the hippie since we worked harder.
Oh well, I'm sorry.
You know, we
spent 6 hours
cut our hair.
trees.
We cut our hair and go to work. We don't sleep in. That's why we have twice as much time in.
Yes, that's why. Oh goodness, I had to readjust to coming back from vacation today, so I'm still readjusting. I think my brain liquefied over my break. Bum. Waiting for other empires.
We're working on it. There's all this loading and crap that's got to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I will attack you from the shadows.
So, Bob, for the folks watching on our channel while we're waiting here, tell us about what... Well, no, there's a cutscene. Then I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Interview style.
Safe in our halls and mines, we ignored these old tales. But then the Great Quake cracked our halls open, revealing ancient secrets and relics. These unknown relics carried our patterns, our images, hints of a hidden past. We took them and fled the destruction, seeking a new life on the surface. Now the legends and relics of our past show the way to our future.
And beyond.
It can be dangerous, sometimes deadly.
Random.
Middle of watching my cutscene, that just comes out. Like,
Exactly.
like, what does that have to do with anything that's going on my screen?
Suck it. Yes. What? And then
the
the world.
Drakener thing.
And then the world exploded. Goodbye, everybody.
So, despite the fact that you may not share a common border with them, the Draken will appear for everybody if they are playing, because the Draken can see everybody else.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or at least they see where the starting city or where you are starting out anyway, so they know where the capital is and stuff.
Huh. I did not know that.
So yeah.
All right, so let's take our Marine. So the most interesting part about any of these things is that opening move where you're basically selecting where to drop your guy. And it's more interesting for you two because you have a completely, like, depending on where you guys landed, you may be completely screwed or you may have an amazing setup because you don't have you both are missing a resource.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we're not as concerned about that sort of thing. But that's just because we're not hindered by such mortal things.
Well, and at
At
the
least I'm
same
not.
time, it also kind of gives, at least I feel that it gives me a little bit easier time as far as worker management because I don't have a fifth column to worry about. So it makes it that if I'm just getting distribution and food, then after that I'm going, what do I care about the rest?
Interesting.
Yeah, you can be way more focused. Oopsie daisy.
I'm struggling to find a good spot to start here. Might be the best of a bad bunch.
So you're going to ask me something.
Yeah, actually, while so obviously we're simulcasting this on both of our channels, BerCrew Studios and Maniacal Studios. So I was just gonna have you share with the group here, kind of what some of the activity on Maniacal is, what kind of series you guys are running right now, so that people who are watching on BerCrew kind of have a clue what they could go find.
Well, our content's pretty similar between our two channels. You and I certainly do a lot of Europa Universalis 4 between the two of us, and we're even doing some multiplayer stuff together with that. Strategy games in general, as you can see, Endless Legend, which we're doing together yet again. Megan, who's my wife, she's been playing Fallout 4, and she posts Fallout 4 videos up every so often. But it's really kind of whatever I find fun or we find fun, kind of for a few months at a time. Like, we're really big into Heroes of the Storm right now, which is a MOBA that Blizzard Entertainment put out, which is the same guys behind Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft. So Heroes of the Storm is where they take in the heroes from all those different games and put them together and make them fight. And that's pretty fun. We live stream and then we release typically 2 to 3 videos a day.
Very cool.
Which actually just got 100 subscribers to our channel, so woo!
Congratulations. We just broke 50 finally.
Yay!
And I
I
saw
think some of our subs, I'm sure, went over your guys' channel and checked it out.
Yeah,
at least one or two have said, "Hey, Bob, we checked the other channel out."
Yeah, I think there's definitely some overlap. Hopefully in both directions, and we're seeing some interesting growth. In fact, our sub today, I believe, was from China.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting to, at least on the BerCrew side, we're starting to go a little more international. I think 75% still United States, but the rest are like Germany, UK, Australia, Norway, Netherlands, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm being a little slow, but I've got a lot of little crap to look at. So research.
Do the things with the research.
Mm-hmm.
So I have settled in a pretty good rhythm with the Broken Lords themselves, and if there are questions that do abound, which I know is something we were talking about a little bit earlier, and just how to play and such, I've got a pretty good grasp on what needs to happen when and where.
Yeah, and so just kind of for the audience, a little bit of basics about the game. Up here we have our FIDC, which is food, industry, science, and dust and influence, which are the above city info. Bob, maybe just follow along. Those are the different resource types. And so it's kind of in a Civ fashion where your city has tiles and you farm those different resources. On Bob's screen, you're going to miss one because you're not going to have, is it food? And
food I'm missing, but I have the column for it. I just don't have any production in it.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is when you plan a city, unlike a lot of other games, you claim an entire region. So you can only build one city per region, which has some interesting impacts on the mechanics. The other things that are just kind of real quick spotlights, the research, for those of you who were watching my stream, and probably Bob did the same thing already, the research is a little different in the sense that there's no real tree. There's eras. So in this era that I'm looking at on the research screen, you can pick any of these techs to research at a time. And every time you research a tech, it gets more expensive, but you're not forced into an order. A lot of places say you got to research this, that leads to this leads to that. There's no restrictions on that in the era. So once you unlock the next era, then you can research anything in that era or anything in the previous era. So it's a very different research system than a lot of these types of games, which I think adds a little bit more depth to the game. But yeah. Sorry, I always feel like when we're in a new game, we should do a little bit of a here's what you get.
No, that's good. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And so right now,
I just demand everyone know all things at all times.
Well, yeah, you're you. The other thing that you can do with your units is search temples and all kinds of fun stuff, but you basically have a border around your region, and you can exploit resources in that region, but you only farm actively the production of your city itself. All right.
There are a lot of RPG elements in this. Anyone who's played Endless Space will instantly recognize the whole hero governor thing.
Yep.
Where you have your skill trees that'll affect either certain things in a settlement or your combat ability. Like for me, I'm probably going to turn my guy into a governor just because he's got a lot of dust generation stuff that's going on. Which will be good for me because I need dust. Lots of it. Nom 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 dust.
Tasty.
Tasty, tasty dust.
Mm-hmm. So I need to assign my hero because I forgot to. Whoops. What are Silix again? I can't remember.
They're just a minor race.
Okay.
But it will tell you in the Empire assimilation screen what their bonuses will be if you do assimilate them.
I'm gonna wait. That. So early on, you're just doing some basic research. We're doing some basic build. The early game has some different things you can do. It's not super interesting. There's not like 50,000 different ways to do it, but there are quite a few different ways you can build your initial hit. Now again, those guys, because Pickle doesn't have research, Pickle just buys it and there's no research time for Pickle. For Bob and myself, when we research something, it takes a certain amount of time as well as a certain amount of science. Pickle just has dust. Once he wants the tech, he hits the purchase button and he's got that tech. He doesn't have the same wait period that we do, which is an interesting factor.
Because he's a big cheater pants.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just got an achievement when I played earlier that says cheaters can get ahead.
Oh,
I think is what it's called.
What's the conditions of
Yeah,
that?
cheaters come out ahead. It says, with the Forgotten, be the first to reach the second era. So I'm like, by this one, this one gone. And I'm like, yeah, we're nowhere near you. So I just kind of giggle at that sometimes. It's definitely a different animal for me for the pacing of this game. I'm not one of those real aggressive type people, but for this game, I've at least playing as the Forgotten, I feel that you kind of have to be overly aggressive just to be able to sustain.
Interesting. I lost a militia. I don't think I've ever seen that yet. At least at this pace of the game.
They come back. They're expendable.
Aren't they all?
Yeah.
Alright, so... So I'm going to zoom out just so everybody can kind of see the size of the map. We went with a large map, so the world does wrap. So you can, it's kind of like a real world where you can run all the way around and come back to where you start. It's not like there's a border on that edge. There are north and south borders, though, which is why you see that wasteland area up top there.
I did not know Worlds could rap.
They
When
do.
does their mixtape drop?
Well, probably
Really?
they gotta save up a little bit of money first to get some studio time. So I'm gonna guess it won't be right away.
Keeping it real.
Is that what that was? When keeping it real goes wrong. All right, so I was waiting for my units to heal up, but now I can send them back out. And I am near a desert, it looks like.
Well, I envy you.
I bet you would.
The Forgotten Pickle probably envies you too, because dust is where the dust, or the desert is where the dust generation's at.
Yes, and there's a metric ton of it.
Color me jealous.
And what color is jealous?
Color of Bob.
Color, there you go. Exactly, just like that.
All right, I'm gonna look for that in my crayon box. Look for the Bob color, kids.
Depends how long Bob's been indoors.
That's right. I'm pretty pasty, so it is winter time, so
Winter is coming? Question mark?
winter has come.
Well, for us. Don't ruin their immersion.
I'm sorry.
So that's another thing. There are seasons in here, and the winters are significant reductions in a lot of different things, and we'll show you that when it happens. But along everyone's end turn timer here, you will see a timer, and it says how many turns to winter. And it's usually a range. It doesn't tell you specifically. There is, I think, a race that gets a better forecast, but it does give you a range, and it'll be this many to this many turns when winter comes.
There's also a tech you can get that'll increase your ability to tell when the seasons change by, I think, an 80% window.
Interesting. Oh, now the AI. As we look back at the tech tree for a second, in addition to the techs, one thing I didn't mention is there's these legendary deeds that are on the side of each tech, and those are essentially things you can do. They're almost like little quests where you can get some sort of an effect or reward. And I would say the AI gets those most of the time, at least in the first era or two. I don't know if anybody else has seen different, but that's been my my experience at this point.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my burrow. Oh, what'd you say?
I was just talking about in research. There's those legendary deeds that you can get, the ones on the side, but that I see mostly the AI get those, at least in the early game.
I managed to get both the library and the tower.
Nice.
Well, the tower might actually be the second era. Yeah, Baron of Industry and the Civilization Builder. So I've gotten both of those, but they do require resources. So it's really is just like who manages to get their like titanium and glass steel production going, which are two different strategic resources you can get in the game. You have to mine them and such. But anyway, you guys want to call this episode number 1?
Yep, that's what we'll do.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys in the next video.